Good morning, and what a pleasure it is to be back. As one of my friends said when she calls me, every day is a beautiful day for me, and it truly is. I'm happy to be alive. And even though we've got problems, in spite of that, and Lord knows we've got lots, remember, they're made by us. People made those problems. We can fix them. We can fix any problem we want. All we need is the will. One of my friends said, "What do you think? Do you think the two-party system is working for us?" My answer is no. But then again, I felt that way, I believe, since probably 2008. 2012, and straight on. Always giving in, giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, but no more. There's no doubt in my mind we need another party. The current Trump GOP, that's defunct. We can't have a party that espouses the deaths of others and really doesn't care, and I don't care what Mitch McConnell says, that, oh, this is a tragedy, but he doesn't divorce himself from white supremacy or the replacement theory. Replacement theory is not a non-starter. It's not a Democratic issue. It's a United States issue. We have white supremacists in this country. They're known groups. They're on many platforms. Whatever's posted there, you gotta believe, folks, it's posted on Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube. It's legitimized. When the Republicans disingenuously say immigrants are going to take their jobs, they forgot to say that most of those 11 million immigrants actually came here under George W. Bush. And the state of Texas has no problem using illegal immigrants to build their roads and their buildings. They don't even think that giving them a water break when it's 105 degrees in the shade is a good idea. So no wonder they're looking at them to scapegoat. But they have so many other people that they're also scapegoating. Texas, unless they flip that state to Beto O'Rourke, is in deep trouble. You got a decent guy there, Beto O'Rourke. Vote for him. Is he a Democrat? You bet he is. But he's a decent man. And that's the criterion for voting for someone. Not because they take out all the hate that you have in your heart and they reinforce it and all those fears, but because they're good, decent people who want to see a good life for themselves and their children and for you as well. I know. I went to work for Beto in 2018 when he was running against Ted Cruz. I have no doubt in my mind he'd make a great governor. Do I espouse a third party? You bet at this point. There are too many folks that are being part of the insurrection enabling that are in Congress and should be removed through the 14th Amendment, Section 3. And too many senators supporting replacement theory. And with gerrymandering, and restrictive voting all over the country, it's going to be a yeoman's job just to vote. There is no legal reason for anyone to say 2020 was a stolen election, nor is there a legal reason for anyone to say that most people or any people are voting doubly, except There is an exception. A couple of guys who were planning the insurrection of January 6th, 2020, they were known to have voted twice. Any penalties for them? I don't hear it. So I don't know. And then you gotta wonder, what in the world's happened to the FBI? How come they're not tracking all these social media sites? Why aren't they going after our internal terrorists and hate crime perpetrators? Why aren't they finding out who's complicit in helping them? Well, the answer is very clear. The FBI doesn't care. And the FBI is not motivated to look for white supremacist terrorists in our country, though those are the folks who are perpetrating the murders. Not foreign immigrants, not minorities, them. And the police, they don't seem to be interested either. So I think we got a real disconnect between society that says, we don't like this violence anymore. We can't take it on top of all the other trauma we've had. And the Justice Department that's not stepping up and going after the terrorists in our own country, the perpetrators of hate and fear. Because what they say and what they print becomes reality. I hear in the newspapers that we're now forming alliances on technology with the EU, probably with India, Japan, Australia, and several other countries. We do that, we should adopt the EU regulations on content on social media. They go into effect in 2024. It just says if it's violence, we don't want it. And we're taking it off. And there is a mechanism to take it off. Every video that goes onto social media can be tracked just like your DNA. It has a print. So no excuses there. We don't have to be subjected to hatreds, to lies, and to violence and brutality. No sirree. And the other thing that really gets me is how much trauma we have suffered. 1 million people plus died in America due to COVID. And that was no thanks to the Trump administration that dumbed down the essence of this virus, said it was nothing, just like a flu. Yet when the commander-in-chief got the virus, he ran out right away, got the monoclonal antibodies, got the state-of-the-art infusions at the time, and made sure he and his family were 100% protected. And he admitted to Woodward that this was going to be a very virulent virus. Well, he knowingly downplayed it. And all 59,000 people in the meatpacking industry contracted it. And all 269 that we know of died from it. And where is COVID most infectious, and where is it claiming the most lives, besides people who are 65 and older? In the South. In the South, where you don't get good health care at all. In the South, where there are no benefits, people are being paid a marginal wage, and the food pantries are overflowing. Which brings me to something else that really bothers me. Antitrust and inflation. Don't tell me inflation is because unemployment is so low. I know kids in their 40s and 50s, professionals who had jobs and can't get them now. So what we've done in corporations is we've created the two-tier society that we see in America today. the lower classes and the upper classes, and none of the people in between who really know how to run the business. And they're just fine with that. Corporations don't care. They don't bleed like you and me. They only have one thought in mind. How much money can they generate? How much can they give back to their stockholders? And Abbott's a case in point. Must have been like BP Horizon, right? $500,000 fix it would have been to save 11 lives in the Gulf so many years ago, when they're making literally a killing. They're making over 5-6 billion a quarter. And yet the price of oil, the same old oil, it's not new fields being generated. The same old oil is over $114 a barrel. It's shameful. And Abbott's never made so much profit and has returned a 25% increase in dividends to their stockholders. I wonder what their small fix might have been so that baby formula wasn't contaminated. When I worked at Pfizer and streptomycin had a problem with mold, I believe it is, we fixed the problem. 12 hours we were back and running. Actually, nothing had left the plant. It was still in QC. So we didn't hurt any of the public at all. And it was up to us to fix it properly, called in the FDA, made sure everything was all right, and voila, nobody was hurt. 12 hours for the fix. I can't imagine how their bacterial contamination is. They just didn't care, that's all. The consumer is not their customer. Their stockholders are their customers. Otherwise, we would be back to FDR's price controls during World War II when we had bread lines. He told the corporations, you can't make that profit. Cut it back. Instead, because we've got monopolies in every single industry, every corporation in America is making more money than they ever did before. And what are they doing? Any increases, they're passing it on to us. Don't look just to Google and Facebook and Apple and Microsoft to break up. Break up every one of these dinosaurs that are monopolies in our country. The 5 meatpacking plants and giants who control our meat. You want to do something for America? Bring back some of our supply chains and also lower the tariffs on China. We need good relations with China. They're too big to shove into Russia's corner or any's corner. I don't want to have to look and see how well do our weapons work on another project. I'd like to have a calm world where we can resolve our problems of pollution, of climate mitigation, of food insecurity, of a basic living wage, better health care for all, and education. That For the Families Act is still needed. There's no question in my mind. Inflation is man-made. We can get out of it. If they keep raising interest rates too high, I remember the Reagan eras, we'll have some recession. It will be a doozy, and then we'll have the crash. Another major crash, just like we saw in '87, just like we saw in 2008. So, why not avoid it now? Do what's right now. Take the steps to stop the violence. Take the steps to curb inflation. And don't look at us, the people, the poor, the middle class that makes up 70% of this country. and is finding it difficult to eat at this point. Don't look at us. We're not 100% employed. Those GDP numbers are phony and have always been phony and made up. They don't really tell the entire tale of who's working and who isn't, and who needs assistance and who doesn't. We're not a humane country, and it's kind of hard for me to look at other countries and say, oh, you should be doing better. Well, we're verging on a kleptocracy ourselves, so how am I going to tell others that they should do better? My feeling is you set an example, then you can talk. Until then, folks, I see no reason to be dismayed. It just means we got to get out the vote. Republicans want to say it's the Democratic vote. Let them talk. What do I care? You got to vote. If there's only one party to vote for, 2022 is it. You got to vote Democrat unless there are some independents that you love or some good Republicans who are not involved in replacement theory at all and who show that they have a heart. They have no heart. They don't give you expanded Medicaid. They don't give you good schooling. They're banning books. They're banning the LGBTQ&A community. They want to put restrictions on women's rights. Those aren't folks you'd want to vote for. Oh, and also they're like Ted Cruz, who wasn't content with the already lenient Citizens United laws and campaign finance laws. No. Now he wants to have the laws changed, and they have been changed by the Supreme Court, that says once you're elected, people can still finance you and pay down all the personal debt that you've paid yourself. Well, I imagine then the sky's the limit on how much money and influence is going to be plowed into the two-party system. They're going to have a hell of a time maintaining those races. We thought $5-6 billion was a lot for the presidency. Wait. No money for we the people, but there's a hell of a lot of money for campaign finance. There ought to be some laws that really work for we the people. I understand there are still some on the books. We just got to make them enforced. So it's up to us, everyone. Vote overwhelmingly in 2022, and let's take away all the excuses for gridlock and finally get our lives back in order. That's what I would suggest, and we gotta have a third party. You know, I've been espousing it. I even got a title, americaspeaks.us. It's good enough for us. You got another idea? Happy to do it, and happy to start it with everyone's help. So God bless you all, and have a lovely, lovely day. And I'll see you next week. You can bet on it. Take care.